everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bytes. Welcome to another Thursday night live stream. One of the ones that I always say this. I feel like I always say one that I've been looking forward to for a long time. But this one actually was a surprise. This wasn't a planned stream. I just woke up one day with a sample pack in my mailbox, and I was like, I wonder who this is from. So I got a really cool sample set of Woodinville whiskey from our guest that I'll introduce here in just a second. And who is a bit of a super fan of Woodinville, dare I say. So want to give a couple shout outs to people here in the chat. I saw James Taylor was hanging out early. It says wash hands emoji. I imagine you just like use one that like clapping, maybe. I don't know. I think I know which one you're talking about, because on YouTube it's like the little like COVID ones they added, but it looks like clapping hands. I assume that's the one you're using right there. D's Bourbons is in the chat. Whiskey Mountains, Adriana, good to see you. Both James and Adriana are patrons and Bite Club members. I appreciate y'all so much for being supporters here on YouTube and over on Patreon. Y'all are the best. Speaking of which, also a Bite Club member and patron, Sugar Kitty's in the house. Meow to you. You know what, Sugar Kitty? It was funny earlier today. I was in Perry from This Is My Bourbon podcast stream, and someone called me a cool cat. So I was like, I said meow, and I sent that same emoji. And then Perry was like, wait, did I miss Sugar Kitty? Is Sugar Kitty here in the chat? So I was like, oh, no, sorry. I got called a cool cat. So it's just, you've made a reputation for yourself with that. So good to see you here. Donnie, the other resident cat, I should say. Donnie, the Linux cat. Good to see you, Donnie. Thank you so much for being here. David Easterling, good to see you. I'm down with the Cliffness. Well, I definitely, we got 5 samples. We'll see if Cliffy appears tonight. We might see him towards the end. Looks like clapping. That's what I thought, James. I swear that was the one I thought you used to. Perry said, or not Perry. Brandon says, sorry, I'm late. I call you Perry. I've done that more than once. I don't know why I call you Perry. Brandon says, hey, Bourbon Bytes, sorry, I'm late. Cheers, all. Good to see you, Perry. Good to see you, Brandon. You're not late. We're just getting started. Big Vic is in the house. Good to see you. Zopher is here as well. Such a good crowd tonight. Alexander. I think I got everyone here. So without further ado, please welcome not a brand rep, not a master blender, but Woodinville's super fan, Joseph Brazeau. Welcome to the show, Joseph.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Clifton, or Brandon, or Perry.
Brandon or Perry. Perry just drank a Boilermaker on his stream, so we'll see if he makes it here tonight. But so Joseph, you did your usual incoming message, which we know means something's coming our way, and showed up on my doorstep. 5 different samples of Woodinville. Now, I had never heard of any of these, so I tried to do a quick Google search to see, what can I find out about these? Other than like the port finish, there's literally nothing on the internet about these. So maybe this is a bit of an exclusive. Can you tell us a little bit about like these releases that we're trying tonight?
Well, sure. I sent them because I know you've had just kind of the baseline stuff, the regular rye, the regular port, the regular stuff, and maybe a pick or two. So you may have had some of the cask strength. Woodinville, what they like to do, they do in the fall, they do a harvest release. And they do a spring release in the spring, clearly. And then once or twice a year, they'll have something they call their Taste, Choose, Bottle event, where they'll roll out 3 barrels and you sample from those. And you sip and you taste and you decide which ones you like. And then you bottle it straight out of the barrel. And that's always a lot of fun. You only get a half hour with the barrels, but it's still a lot of fun. And I usually buy multiples.
Yeah, I imagine so. So for those that aren't familiar with Woodinville, I know, again, you're not a brand rep, but you are a super fan. Can you tell us a little bit about the distillery for someone that's new to Woodinville?
Sure. Founded in 2010 by 2 high school chums, Brett Carlisle and Orlin Sorensen. Woodinville itself is actually about 20 minutes north of Seattle. So they started, like any other fledgling distillery does. They started the first couple of years using the smaller barrels, the micro barrels, and selling vodka. Okay, and then they, with the help, they got started with the help of Dave Pickrell, former late distillery, master distiller from Maker's Mark. He's also helped out a couple other distilleries, but I think his help with this one really shows up because they do a really great job. Now they distill in Woodinville, on that side of the mountains, the outside of the Cascade Mountains. And then what they do is they put all their distillate into a big tanker truck, and they ship it back over the mountains to my side.
Oh, interesting.
The eastern side of the mountains, because the temperature fluctuations in the climate in Seattle is a lot like Scotland. It would take a long time to age a bourbon over there. Whereas in Quincy, Washington, on my side, it's a lot like Kentucky. Gets up to 100 degrees or so in the summertime. It gets down to 0 in the wintertime. So the climate is perfect.
Awesome. Well, so for those of you that either you are new to Woodinville or you are experienced with Woodinville, Joseph has probably one of the best selections of their products. So he has been ever so kind to not only provide these samples for me tonight, but he is going to throw in a sample set for a giveaway tonight. So y'all know the drill. Every $5 super chat is an entry to get the sample set from Joseph. It'll include some of the ones I'm trying here today, some other ones that I have not tried yet. So if y'all are interested, like I said, every $5 super chat will earn you one entry. But most of all, I appreciate all the support. Of course, super chats are just a way to help support the channel. I just like to give you the little bonus entry as a thank you for the super chat. So awesome. Joseph, are you ready? I saw some chats I wanted to read first, but
Certainly.
Once I read those, are you ready to get into this?
I'm certainly ready to get into it.
So everyone's saying hey to you. I see Sugar He's saying hi to you. Tony is saying hello.
Hello.
Rex Lugo said he planned on going to, slept but jumped back on. Awesome. Rex, good to see you.
See, Patrick's back in town.
Oh, yeah, I saw that. So Joseph said, I hear Brazeau is a Woodinville enthusiast. A little bit, I would say.
Tiny bit.
And then Patrick says, how fitting, Woodinville night, and I just landed in Seattle. Well, good timing, Patrick. Thank you for tuning in and watching. I know you are this. If Joseph is the first best Woodinville fan, you're the second best. I don't know. Y'all might fight it out. Donner Pass is here as well. Good to see you. Hope I didn't miss anyone. But Rex Lugo is already in for the super chat, hoping to win some wood. Well, right now you got pretty good odds. Thank you so much for this first super chat tonight, and really, really appreciate it. I'm really excited to get engaged here tonight. I see, just to make sure, Trevor Kunkel is also here. Cheers to you. And Halden Kirkwood, I do love that I live barely 3 hours from Woodinville. Best bourbon coming up from the West Coast. Well, as a fellow West Coaster, I think I agree with that. So, all right, Joseph, let's get into the first one. So I think you said you wanted to start with the Chardonnay cask, right?
Start with the Chardonnay finish. This was from a couple of years ago. They had 3 different wine finishes. Now, this is their standard their standard bourbon. It's all at least 5 years old. Mash bill is 72-22-6. So it's a bit of a high rye bourbon.
Nice.
What they do, generally speaking, comes off the still at about 145, goes into the barrel at 110. After 5 years, it's usually between 115 and 120 plus a couple. What they do for these finishes, what they do is they proof it back to 110. So it's basically barrel entry proof. And then depending on how long it ages, I think these wine finishes were like 5 months.
Oh, wow.
I remember, talking to Mike, they're about 5 months. That particular one was the Chardonnay. There was a Madeira, and there was a Petite Syrah. So those were the three to choose from that day. I was not expecting to like the Chardonnay. I had low expectations.
I was gonna say I also had low expectations from this because I've had one other Chardonnay cask finished whiskey and I did not like it. That was a different distillery, of course, but I will say that I did try a little bit of this earlier because I was a bit worried. I actually enjoy it. So
I was amazed at how much I enjoyed it. I was literally like, holy shit, this is good.
Right. So are these all bourbons that we're trying today, or any of them ryes?
These are all just the standard bourbon.
I was curious because when I tried this earlier, I was like, is this a rye? I think maybe it's just those bright notes that maybe I'm getting from the Chardonnay cask. I almost thought this was a rye.
What gets me, like I said, the Chardonnay shows up, but the whole time I was thinking, God, there's some kind of fruit or citrus in there, and I couldn't decide what it was. And I thought maybe lemongrass, but then I thought, well, shit, it's Chardonnay. That's what I'm getting. You're getting Chardonnay.
Well, I was going to say, so to me, I got pear. Pear was the fruit that jumped out to me, but again, the same kind of thing. I let my husband try all of these as well. He said this smelled grassy, so I think it sounds like y'all were onto the same trait there. So, and that, again, goes back to rye.
But I think what happens, though, is I think that Chardonnay just kind of just kind of accentuates the rye a bit, I think. So because it's got a little bit of a bite.
Yeah, I think so. When I have a Chardonnay finish, I look for some of those mouthfeel characteristics that Chardonnay typically has. It's normally thicker, more viscous. I do get some of that translating onto this one. I think I like this one so much more than the last Chardonnay cask whiskey I ever had, was because that one tastes like oxidized wine. And I have a thing with, I do not like oxidized wine. I think it's just gross and salty and like, ugh, I just don't like that. This doesn't have that. This actually is very, I don't know if I'd be able to guess this is, wine finished. It's just on palate.
Yeah, it's just kind of a bright, and like I said, it kind of makes the rye pop a little bit. But it's not dilly or minty. It's just a little spiky. The other wine, one of those that was available that day was the Petite Syrah. It's the only Woodinville that I really didn't like.
That's one of my favorite. That's one of my favorite kinds of wine. So I've never had a finish of it, but that's really interesting.
Yeah, and it's funny, that was the first one to sell out.
Really?
Yeah, was that Petite Syrah.
Wow.
So
Alexander with
a lot of people like it.
Yeah, Alexander with another super chat jumping in saying, giving myself a break tonight with some water, but hoping for some Lagavulin and Glenkinchie 24 tomorrow on a weekend getaway. Cheers. Hey, cheers to you, Alexander. Actually, I'm actually meeting up with my local group on Saturday. I know Brandon's going to be there to drink some whiskey, lots and lots of whiskey. So enjoy your weekend getaway. I will enjoy my weekend staycation with some whiskey. So I saw Mark Diana says, I'm 15 minutes from Woodinville. Love that place. So jealous.
I'm 3 hours away, but I still love the place.
Wow. Yeah. See, I'm in Southern California. We don't really have much in terms of distilleries out here. I mean, there's a few smaller ones. There's some that are just starting up, so I'd like to see them in a couple of years. But really, Washington has us beaten distilleries. I mean, y'all have Woodinville. Y'all have what is the American single malt one? Westland, y'all have that as well, which is also a really great distillery. So y'all are definitely ahead of the curve when it comes to that, which makes sense. I mean, Washington's always been kind of the craft scene, I feel like from Seattle to all this stuff. It seems like a big part of the culture there.
A lot of craft beer.
Yeah. So I think it makes sense. Regs Lugo says, I picked up a Woodinville barrel bottled and bond store pick as my intro too. Yeah, I think the first Woodinville I had was the 50 or the 100 proof one as well. So probably along the same boat there. Whiskey Mountain said only had the Thomas Moore Chardonnay and definitely not a fan. Adriana,
I had that as well. I was also not a fan.
So remember when I said I had a Chardonnay cask that I didn't like? That was it.
That one?
They sent me the bottle, so I couldn't be, I had to be honest on the review, but I didn't recommend that one. And honestly, it was one of my least favorite finished whiskeys I've ever tried, not going to lie. Yeah. So this is not like that at all. I
had that one after this one. So I thought, maybe Chardonnay finish, not so bad. Yeah, not so great. It's funny, I'm 3 hours from Woodinville, but I'm only like half an hour from Quincy, where they grow all the grains on the Omlin family farm. And that's where all of the bottling, the barreling and bottling line now is in Quincy. So it used to be they bottled, ship all the barrels over to the rick houses on the other side. And then, so now it's all kind of central now. Now they do the bottling and the storage and the barreling and the storage and the bottling there. So they've built a whole new facility. They've added 2 big rick houses. And they've actually expanded their whole operation. In 2017, they were bought by Moet Hennessy. So they went from doing, right now they're doing about 150,000 proof gallons a year. So what they're just finishing up now, they've added 2 more pot stills, and the fermentation tanks have gone from 4 3,000 gallon to 4 10,000 gallon.
Wow.
So by the time they're finished with this expansion, they'll go from 150,000 proof gallons to close to 1 million. So
that's crazy. So it sounds like even though they were bought out by this larger company, they're still kind of staying true to, I mean, at least from my experience, it looks like it's kind of staying true to their roots, right?
Yeah, it looks like Moet and Hennessy is giving them pretty much free reign. And they're also supplying a lot of these finishing barrels. Because one of the for the 10-year anniversary back in the beginning of 2020, They did a special bottling for their 10 years, and one of them was finished in Ardbeg casks, which Moet Hennessy owns Ardbeg and Glenmorangie. So so that was pretty cool. I'm not a Scotch guy, but I bought a couple of bottles and sent them out to Scotch friends of mine.
Awesome. I see just a couple people popping in. Emily says, nice turnout. Remember to hit the like button. Yes, if you guys could hit the like button, it's free, and it does help out the channel a lot. Maybe we'll help Woodinville see the stream, and then maybe they'll send me some more samples in the future. So make sure to hit the thumbs up. Thank you so much, Emily. I see Donald's also popping in to say hello. Good to see you, Donald. Hope you're doing well. Hope to see you on our after party hangout, which I'll do the Patreon plug right now. Why not? So you can support the show on Patreon for as little as $2 a month. Patreon.com/Bourbon Bytes. You can take place in polls, things to shape the future of the channel. And then, of course, at the higher tiers, you get access to some of our really fun hangouts, like our monthly hangout, our after party hangout, which will happen right after the stream. Hopefully, Joseph can make it to that one. We'll see.
I can't. I'm flying out to Florida tomorrow at 5 a.m.
Oh, okay. We won't keep you long. Okay. But you guys can check that out. Like I said, patreon.com/Bourbon Bytes. I'll be there. I know some of these other guys will be there too. So, I like that shirt. Oh, controversial shirt there.
I had to pimp that.
That's awesome. So Halden brings up a good point. He says, I'll make the trip up to the distillery soon to try some of these finishes. Yeah, I was going to ask, how often are these typically available at the distillery? Is it just like special events? Or are they typically, gift shop only? How does that work?
Yeah, these are special events. The taste, choose, and bottle, those are special events. They happen once or twice a year. They'll announce them a couple of weeks beforehand, and you don't know what it's going to be. Now, the two you can count on are the spring release and the harvest release. Now, as opposed to just rolling out 3 barrels, these are pre-bottled and they're big batches. Like previous harvest releases have been a toasted apple stave bourbon, and then there was a toasted apple stave rye, right? Last couple spring releases were a muscatel finished, and the year before that was 2 sherry finished, a PX and an Oloroso. So those are much bigger batches. So those are, those kind of just fill the gift shop.
Gotcha.
So your chances of scoring those are a lot better. I think there's still muscatel left, and I think there's still PX sherry left.
Awesome. EJ says the muscatel finish is amazing. So definitely curious about that one. Of course, Don Nishida says, what the hell is Joseph doing here? Cheers to you, Don. I don't know what he's doing here either.
So at the muscatel finished one, that spring release, I think that's where I met Brandy for the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize he drove up though. That's awesome.
I think he was for that. Yeah.
Don Nishida says Callie has.
So as far as the other finished stuff, the port finish is just, that's the core. That's in all the states. Well, not all the states. Their core line is their 90 proof rye, 90 proof bourbon, and the 90 proof port finished. Now that port finish started off as a special event, a distillery only, years ago, and it was so popular that became part of the core line.
So this port finish we have here, is this the original release of it?
No. This one, let me get it. This one, this was part of another one of those taste choose bottle events.
Okay.
I think it's from 2 years ago. I mean, it was still real COVID-y when we went.
Real COVID.
And there were about 3 barrels of port finished. One was just the traditional port from Portugal. And then 2 were local wineries that also happened to make port style wines. One was Patterson and one was Brian Carter. And then it was just a legit port from Portugal. The Patterson tasted a lot like a red wine finish. It wasn't like super sweet. The port, was super sweet, but delicious. I got several bottles. I sent one to Fred Minnick, and that was cool.
So that's awesome.
He really liked it.
I was going to say, what did he say about it?
Yeah. Well, first he was kind of griping about it. He's like, I really like Woodinville. Why are they messing things around with all the finishes? Blah, 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 blah. And then he tasted it, and he made some noise from his mouth, and then he was like, sweet cherry pie. And then so he liked it, and I liked it too. But the one in the middle, the Brian Carter, was kind of the best of both worlds. Wasn't as sweet as the port, but it wasn't as tannicky, red winey as the first one. So this is that Brian Carter one. That's a local winery in Woodinville.
Gotcha. Well, before I get into tasting, I know I'm a little behind the chat, so I want to get caught up. I hate falling behind, so it's not your fault, it's mine. So got another super chat, another entry into the giveaway. Tony Bag of Donuts here saying, I visited Woodinville last year, unfortunately no tour, but I picked up the barrel strength bourbon and rye, and of course I have the It's Bourbon Night pick as well. My sister lives on Whidbey Island, Washington, where I picked up 5 local whiskeys. Oh, really interesting. Well, thank you for tuning in, Tony. Yeah, I got to make my way up there sometime soon, hopefully. I last visited Seattle in 2019. I gotta make another trip back up soon.
Well, you have a place to stay if you come visit.
Oh, there's that too. That's a little more helpful to
come
make
stay with us. We're empty nesters now. So
gotcha.
You come stay here. Well, there's a lot of wineries around here, and I know somebody that has a lot of bourbon.
Yeah. Well, see, living in California, I feel like I have to become a wine person. I really wasn't one before. But I mean, I really enjoy wine, especially red wine. So I have not been to Napa yet, but there's a few different smaller wine regions here. There's the Santa Ynez Valley here, and there's Temecula. Really love their wines. So yeah, I definitely got to make my way up there for some more wines. Stacy's in the house. What's up, Stacy? Todd is here. Good to see you, Todd. So Todd actually sent me a whiskey. He actually sent me a whiskey that I'm reviewing on this week's podcast that comes out tomorrow. If you guys didn't know, I do a podcast every Friday morning. I keep it pretty short, under 30 minutes, but this is a review. This is a review of EJ Curley & Co. Single Barrel Bourbon, which is a legacy brand making a re-entry. It's currently sourced, but it's got an interesting flavor profile. So make sure to listen to tomorrow's podcast episode. And thank you again, Todd, for that sample. And I think that's Tony. Wait, that's Tony as well. He's here. Bonus thumbs up. Oh, thank you so much. He's giving a second thumbs up. I appreciate that. Patrick says, as far as I know, Woodinville has only released one bottle and bond product for their 10th anniversary. Oh, maybe I'm getting confused. Maybe I'm just thinking of the regular 100 proof. Maybe I was mistaken about that.
Yeah, they've released 100 proof expressions, but they're not bottled and bond. Well, they're not technically bottled and bond, even though they're 5 years old and 100 proof.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I think we're picking nits.
Joe, thank you so much for dropping the Patreon links. I appreciate that so much. Yeah, if you guys want to support the channel, you can support it there. Try to do a lot for my patrons, so thank y'all for supporting me there. Trevor says, in Ohio, I don't find much Woodinville. I have the Mash and Journey picks Joseph helped me with. Joseph helped me with the Iceman and Maverick, and man, they are different but so good. I would love to try more Woodinville. Well, Trevor, you can get into the giveaway tonight and get a chance to try it. So every $5 super chat is a chance to win a sample pack here. Okay, we're almost caught up, Joseph. I'm sorry for.
That's okay.
Okay. If I missed anyone's message, please feel free to resend it. To see another super chat pop in from our friend Don. He said, "Early flight for Joseph. Let me grab a cigar and bourbon and pull up a chair next to his bedroom window. I heard he loves that." I feel like there's a story behind that.
He just has to sing Malika Liki Maka.
All right, let's go to the port. So, like you said, this is the one that's the sweeter, the more traditional port, right?
No, this is the one that was in the middle. This is,
the other one. Okay. I was gonna say
the traditional port was very porty.
Okay,
and this one was kind of a cross between a red wine and a port. It wasn't as sweet or grapey. Now, when this came out of the barrel too, it was a little cloudy. So, as I told you earlier off camera, kind of getting down towards the dregs. So I noticed there was a lot of sediment in it. So hopefully you won't get any of that old grape peel.
Well, I was going to say on the nose, to me, it definitely didn't read as other port finished whiskeys that I've had. Mm-hmm. To me, this one's like more savory. Like it almost reminds me of like some kind of like Asian dish, if that makes sense, like an Asian food dish. I don't know what it is.
It's like plum.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then, I was going to say it's also like a bit herbaceous. Like there's something savory and interesting. It reminds me of food. It makes my mouth water a little bit, but definitely not like a port I've had before. So I'm gonna try it. Yeah. Cheers.
No, I love cheers. Now, I like the regular than any proof port, but this is what 108, I think.
108.56. Yep.
Yeah. So it's a different beast. I mean, it's if you don't normally like port wine finishes, you add 20 points of proof, you'll find that you really might.
Hmm. Yeah, that's so different than any other. I think usually when I have a port finish, most of the time it's been with a rye whiskey. So I guess I'm just used to associating those two flavors together. So this one though, it definitely shows up on the finish. I think the port really shines at the end. It gets a bit of like a
Yeah.
wine kind of tannic finish, but up front, I don't detect the typical port notes. To me, it is
Does-
spicy. It kind of reminds me of
Yeah.
like it reminds me of like a rye at the beginning for
Yeah.
some reason, but it's
It's not like
spicy.
super sweet like most ports.
Right.
Like
But
this is not Angel's Envy.
oh,
I'm not
absolutely.
getting weird candy notes and circus.
Yeah, I
peanuts.
think it. Well, there's like a. Is that Patrick flying over me? I hear a military helicopter. No, just kidding. Anyways, so there's a characteristic of it that's like, I just the best way to describe that one is I think it balances really well, and I think that makes sense why they do the port finish just on the regular releases because it seems to work really well with their flavor profile. It's definitely not. I would say it's not the most excited one that we are trying tonight. But it's still really solid, and that extra proof really amps it up a bit.
Well, keep in mind, they use particular grapes in Portugal that they don't use on this side or in Australia. So if you get something that's like an American port or an Australian port, it's port style, but they're not using the same grapes. Now, I don't know what grapes they were using, but there's probably, Cab or Cab Franc or Petit Verdot. They're probably using local varietals. So even though it's going to be, sweet, it's not going to have the same characteristics as a traditional port.
Yeah, absolutely. And then Brandon was asking if I've had a lot of bourbons or rye finished in port. Like I said, most of the ones I've had with it have been rye. I have, I'm sure I've had a couple bourbons, including the Thomas S. Moore, which we mentioned earlier. The Thomas S. Moores to me they were interesting, but they felt like the finishing was like a secondary thought. These though, at least so far, or at least with the Chardonnay one, and the ones that I've kind of previewed a bit earlier, the cask, the finishing cask, seems to be like the focus of these, and I think we're about to move into some really great ones here soon. So, yeah, Emily says salted plum. Yeah, it's that note on the nose. This is one of my favorite noses of all of them. I'll be honest, and I think the palate is a little more standard, like more what I'm used to with Woodinville, but the nose on this one just smells amazing.
I do find even with the finishes though, Woodinville does have a particular flavor profile. I think. I mean, you can pick it up in all of their offerings, including the finished. I'm guessing because there's nothing super special about the grains. I mean, it's true farm to glass in that it's all grown on the Almond family farm, down the road in Quincy. But people think, oh, it's some exotic hybrid rye. And no, it's like the common rye that you get for baking bread. It's not something super special. So I'm gonna blame or give credit to the barrels because they use independent stave, and the stave, the wood is just open air aged, so it gets rained on and snowed on and baked in the sun, and that's 18 months. So they do a number 4 char. And they toast the heads. So you're getting a little bit of toastiness in the midst of the char. So I'm guessing that their kind of a unique flavor profile comes from the barrels. But that's just me.
I also have a love-hate relationship with Woodinville only because during Matt Madness, when I was competing trying to guess, distillery, proof, region, Woodinville, I kept assuming different Texas whiskeys were Woodinville because it has that unique character. And I think I always detect that character of a well-aged bourbon, but crafty. Like, I feel like a lot of times when I think something's crafty, I think it's just from some random location. But when you're talking about like a really well-done craft whiskey, my mind snaps to Woodinville. And I'm always yeah, it does. It does. I mean, good for them, right? For putting that in my head. Yeah. But I kept getting thrown off because every time I tasted a craft whiskey that was delicious during Matt Madness, I would think originally Woodinville, and I would say Woodinville, and it ends up being Texas whiskey. So it sounds like there's a lot of similar characteristics between the two. Not necessarily that it's like got that Texas like extremity, that funk of Texas, but it has that really well-aged, different, distinctive craft note. I don't know if that makes sense, but I feel like I can detect it from Kentucky bourbon 100%. It does not taste like Kentucky bourbon, but it's just as good, if not better. Yeah. So there's
one thing I don't normally get. I mean, I've drunk a lot of Woodinville, and I never get that grassy, not like the grassy, that greeny, corn forward, youthful note.
Mm-hmm.
I've never
Yeah,
got,
which a
but
lot
it's,
of really
but it's
crappy
all,
craft whiskey has.
yeah, well, it's all at least 5 years old, which I guess
Right.
that's not the sweet spot. 8 to 10 is sweet, but it's old enough that you're not getting any of that youthfulness.
Yeah,
At
the
least I'm
only
not.
the note that also kind of always makes me think Woodinville is not necessarily the grain or the whiskey itself is young, but I do get a bit of like a green wood kind of note, like a freshly cracked piece of wood, I always say. And I think Woodinville sometimes gives me that note, which again, sometimes is seen as crafty. And when it's combined with the young grainy note, it's not good. But when it's combined with a really well-aged bourbon, it actually works really well and it complements it really well. So I get that on Woodinville. I think that helps me pick it out from a lineup.
Well, you shouldn't get that on those barrels.
I don't know why I get it. I there was one of these that I got it earlier. Actually, we might move to it here soon. One of them had a very distinctive like green. I always say green wood note. We'll see which one. Which one do you recommend moving to next? We'll see if it's that one.
We'll finish up the wine series. These three were together.
Okay.
So it was no, the port was on its own. That was 2 years ago. But the next of the wine series was the Chardonnay, the Madeira, and the Petit Syrah. So go with the Madeira. And I will tell you, this is one of my top 3 Woodinvilles of all time.
Ooh, I'm excited.
I love the Madeira.
By the way, if you guys missed it at the top of the stream, I know we're halfway through now. I'm doing a giveaway of a sample set of Woodinville from Joseph, thanks to him, from his collection. Some of the ones we're trying tonight will be part of that, as well as a couple of other special releases, like the toasted releases we talked a little bit about. So make sure to get your entries in. I'll cut the giveaway off about 5 minutes before the end of the stream, so you guys have about 15, 20-ish minutes to get it in. But like I said, every $5 super chat gets you 1 entry. So I'm going to pour the Madeira now. So you said this was one of the first set of releases that came out with the Chardonnay one?
Well, this came out, like I said, when they do those taste, sip, bottle things, they bring out 3 barrels.
Gotcha.
And actually, you drink straight from them. And then you pick out which one you like and how many, and they just pour it from the barrel into your bottle through a stainless steel coffee filter. So
I've always wanted that experience. I will say I had always dreamed of having an experience of trying whiskey straight from the barrel. I'd never had it. And I know those of you that live in Kentucky, like I get it. Y'all do it all the time. Like, yeah, screw you. But I will say, like, the first time I had that experience was with Broken Barrel, which is they're not a distillery out here. They're more of an infusory. They take sourced whiskey and they put it into different wine barrels. And the guy that's over that program, Sean, he actually gave me he went to his barrel room and he was like, "Oh, do you want to try one from the barrel?" I'm like, "Oh, you're fulfilling a dream of mine." So I'm so jealous of those of you that get the access to do that more often. Oh, I said Sean. I'm sorry, Seth. I don't know why I said Sean. I'm thinking Swan. Where's Swan? Why is he not here? I'm just kidding. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and nose the Madeira. Ooh, I think I got a new favorite nose one. I know I said the port was the best on the nose.
Yeah, the Madeira is great.
That is sweet. That is
rich. It's very rich and
jammy,
earthy, but not.
Is jammy a word? Like it's kind of reminding me of like a strawberry jam, or even wait, hold on, Fig Newton. Am I going crazy?
Newtons, exactly.
Okay,
I was going to say Fig Newtons or raisins.
There's like a darker like raisiny kind of note on there on the nose, but it man, that is delicious. That smells so good. I'm so excited to try this one. Okay, I can't wait any longer. I'll try it. Cheers.
The palate matches the nose.
I will say, yes, I agree for the most part. I think it's not nearly as sweet on the palate. I think it smells way sweeter. However, it still has all those Fig Newton-y kind of notes.
It's got the figgy, the raisin.
I think it goes darker on the palate. I think the sweetness is in there. It's a little more dry on the palate. But I think that the flavor, this has got the most flavor of any of these that I've had so far. From the casks, I think it's influencing it the most, and I like that.
Like I said, this is one of my all-time favorites from Woodinville. This Madeira is fantastic. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say. Adriana said, "Did he also look like Colonel Sanders while letting you try from the barrel? 2 dreams in one." Oh, Don't get me started on my Colonel Sanders fantasy. It's those of you that have been watching my channel for a long time, you know that reference. I played a game that was like a love story about Colonel Sanders. Joseph, I'm sorry, you probably didn't see it.
I've seen it.
I think I was
Now,
going to say that was my early. That was early
that's
on.
Colonel Sanders' like great grandson.
maybe he had the hair though. He had the look. But sorry, what were you saying, Joseph?
I can't remember.
Right. Well, we got another super chat here. Oop, I clicked the wrong button. Regs, he's in for more. Buying my ticket on the Cliffy bus. JK. P.S. Bucket list item. Tasting whiskey straight from the barrel. Yeah, it was for me too. And I feel like I did get that experience. However, it wasn't the same as getting it from a barrel that had been aging the whiskey entirely. I feel like it was kind of cheating a little because it was a refilled barrel that he was finishing in, which was still really cool. But I have not had the experience of sipping whiskey straight from a barrel that has aged that whiskey for the entire duration. So I'm right there with you, Rex. It's also a bucket list item for me as well. But thank you for the super chat. You are entered into the giveaway once more.
Good call from Zofer. It's kind of like a fig jam.
Fig jam, yeah.
Like you get on a charcuterie plate, they'll put some of that fig jam on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that with a little bit of spice.
Oh yeah, it's spicy. I think to me that's what's standing out. I think honestly, this one I'm not getting. I would never guess this is Woodinville because I think it tastes that finish is so. I don't want to say overpowering. That sounds bad, but it kind of dominates.
Still tastes like bourbon.
Here.
It still tastes like bourbon, which is I'll give them credit because it doesn't seem like they overdo anything. Everything. It still tastes like bourbon with a little je ne sais quoi. Well, I don't know what.
Right. Well, I wasn't saying that it doesn't taste like bourbon. I was just saying I wouldn't be able to pick this as a Woodinville, just like trying it on its own. But yeah totally agree.
I remember I was going to say regarding Madeira, there is like many different styles of Madeira. Some are very light and crisp and fruity, and some are dark and raisiny like this. I'm guessing that's what they used for this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a contender. I'm not going to rank all of these tonight, but that's going to be one of my top 3, 100%. No doubt about that.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to move on? We have two
let me
more.
finish this.
Yeah. Oh, you only have one. You only got one, Glenn. You got to have more. Because
I've got 2 dozen, but yeah.
I just meant for the stream. All right, so we got 2 more.
I don't have a big desk.
Yeah, true. All right, we got the rum and the Armagnac. Which do you recommend we go to next?
Let's go with the rum.
All right. I'll tell you, I tried this rum earlier, and again, just so y'all are aware, his labels just say, it's hard to read it. They just say Woodinville rum. So I tried this, and I'm like, that doesn't even taste like a finished. I thought this.
Woodinville.
Mine did the same thing.
New camera, I don't know. Woodinville rum.
Finished
barrels.
in rum cask.
I couldn't tell you where the rum came from, but I tell you what, the barrel looked like it was 100 freaking years old.
Oh.
It was black and gray and runny and gross.
And that's always good when you're looking for finishing. That definitely shows you that it's been like a well used barrel.
Yeah, the barrel itself is disgusting.
What I was going to say though, it's like when I tasted this, I honestly thought, I was like, wait, did Woodinville make a rum? Because that rum influence is extreme. Like on the nose.
On the nose, yeah.
On the nose. Yeah, when I first smelled it, like I was like, is this rum? Huh? It's like that straight up like molasses, like that sweet, like caramelized sugar. I mean, on the nose, this is straight up rum.
Yep. Yeah, agreed.
Also smells delicious.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah, just straight up rum.
Mm-hmm. The taste takes me back into whiskey territory. However,
it's
that
clearly
rum
a bourbon.
influence.
It's clearly a bourbon, but it's got that,
the rum
didn't overdo it.
Yeah, it sticks to it in a way though. It takes me down the same path that some really well-aged rums take me. It's got that like that caramelized sugar element, got the kind of, it almost tastes a little bit like roasted, like there's like or toasted, some kind of aspect like that is there as well. Man.
Yeah, but it's not like a Foursquare, which just consumes your whole head. Mm-hmm. Like I said, this, because that's a very dense, sweet, complex rum. That
But to be fair, though, this gives me some of those notes. And I know you said that you don't know where the rum actually came from.
Yeah.
This
isn't Bacardi. Let's put it that way. It's not Bacardi or
it's not Bacardi, and it's also not crazy funky Jamaican rums, because those sometimes are so like funky. This doesn't have the funk. This has the sweetness. This has the molasses.
Yeah, but it doesn't have like that artificial sweetness like a lot of rums will have. Because most rums, they add sugar.
And I don't like any of those. I only like rums that don't like Foursquare. That's why Foursquare is my favorite rum, because they don't add sugar, cask strength. Like,
Foursquare. They don't add coloring. They don't. They don't add glycerin. They just, So I'm guessing this is something that, because it doesn't have an artificial sweetness.
Right.
This just tastes like it's got a touch of rum.
Well, similar to the Madeira, I think this smelled way sweeter than it tastes. On the palate, it's still back into, like you said, like the bourbon territory. But with I think the finish goes back to that, like, it's like I don't know why I keep saying, like, because I want to say, like, burnt sugar, and that's not appropriate. So I say caramelized sugar, because that's the nice way to say that. Mm-hmm. But the finish is a bit roasty, toasty sugar at the end, and I like that a lot.
It is. And there's a little woodiness. Mm-hmm. Now, if I remember, I was talking to Mike, who's like kind of the one of the lead distillers. Mm-hmm. He said, because this was the Armagnac, the cognac, and the rum. These were last spring.
Okay.
So these were last spring, and he told me these were in the barrels for 9 months, which just seems like a lot.
Yeah.
And I would expect a lot more rum influence from a barrel. It was 9 months, but then I saw the looks of the barrel, and I was like, that barrel's been used a lot. It was rode hard, put up wet. I'm thinking maybe that's why you were not getting so much from it.
And I keep saying that it's getting a lot, and that's just only because I'm comparing these based on that. So I think I'm approaching it from a different perspective. I think I'm looking for that finish. So when I say something has a lot of that finish, it's because I'm looking for that. So I think that's why if people are curious, because they're hearing you say like, oh, it doesn't overtake it, where they're hearing me say like, oh my God, this is rum. I think it's because I've just adapted to looking for those finishes. Again, that madness mindset of me trying to be in a competition. What finishes this? What finishes this? So I focus on that, whereas you focus on the whiskey itself being just a damn good whiskey.
Yeah. I wonder how many people, like whiskey drinkers, if you poured them this and didn't say anything, they go, oh, that's really sweet and delicious, and it's dark and rich. I wonder if they would pick up that it was aged in a rum barrel. Not until you told them.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, I like to say that I would pick up on it, but do I know? No, I don't actually know if I'd pick up on that for sure.
On the nose, you would.
Oh, on the nose, yes. That molasses. The molasses is the dead giveaway for me.
Yeah.
Zopher said, don't want to say burnt sugar, just say brulee. Yeah, good point. That's a nice way to say burnt sugar. Thank you, Adriana, for answering Brandon's question. Yeah, these are all bourbons that we're drinking. These are all bourbons finished in different casks.
That was funny when you mentioned to me that, we should do a live thing. I was like, I at first I didn't know what the value in that would be, because these are bourbons that nobody's ever going to get. Because they're one-offs, and I bought them all.
Right, but I think it's a testament for how good the stuff that's coming out of Woodinville is. Maybe you missed out on these releases like I did, but well, first of all, you won't miss out if you enter the giveaway and you get a chance to win some of these. Then you get to try them with us. But if you did miss out, that just means that there's even better stuff to come, or even more stuff to come. So
because to most people, they have access to the single barrel picks. Which everyone is different, clearly, because they're single barrels, and it's the 90 proof bourbon, the 90 proof rye, and the 90 proof port finish. That's what's available to most people. Now they're in 20 states now.
Yeah, I think Woodinville is like of the non-Kentucky distilleries, I think they have some of the farthest reach in the bourbon world across the country outside of Kentucky. Am I wrong about that, or?
I don't know. They're in 20 states, which is, that's
a
pretty
lot.
good. That's a lot.
And I mean that speaking from someone that's actually distilling their own stuff, because I know there's other distilleries that aren't currently sourcing. But I mean, for someone that's making their own stuff, they're at the 5-6 year old age. They're one of the few that I ever see across the country.
Yeah, well, it's funny. The last time I spoke to Brett and Orlin, the founders, that was at the sherry finished event. It was either harvest or spring. I was like, really nice to be, to try this at 8 years. And, I've got friends, I've got family in Michigan would like to try it. And he's like, you know what? Every drop we make, we sell. So they're limited by, by that. They're like, yeah, we're, 150,000 proof gallons and they sell it all. So I'm thinking with this expansion now, when they up and up, they're like quadrupling or quintupling their output. Because I got the idea that that's what was limiting their distribution, and the fact that they can't hold too much in reserve to age. I got the idea that maybe they were holding a little bit back.
Well, yeah, and in the craft world, like, I mean, 9 years is unheard of at this point. I mean, I think the whole craft whiskey movement has just blown up, and I think you may have been more involved in it than because I didn't really get into whiskey till 2017, 2018. I had no idea that this is a relatively new thing with all these craft distilleries popping up.
Yeah. Well, I drank bourbon like my whole adult life, but it was Jim Beam on rocks.
Yeah.
I did that for years until, I don't know, 2013, 2014.
You still got into it before me, though.
And I was gifted a bottle of Woodford Reserve. I'm like, hey, this is great. And then I got a bottle of Elijah Craig, and it was all big red 12 back then. Like, hey, this is great. And then Eagle Rare, hey, this is great. That's what started me.
I like how I also said, like, oh, you got into it before me then, as if I back in 2013 I was just turning 20, so I was not legally allowed to get access to whiskey. But
it's funny, when I first realized that I really liked Elijah Craig, went and visited my mother-in-law down in Florida, and Elijah Craig 18 was $35 a bottle back then. And I bought a bottle. Oh, this is great! Holy crap!
Wow.
I mean, to me, I was still drinking on the rocks back then, but I really liked it. It was like God's tears,
Well, I think so. My journey was somewhat similar. I think, as much as I don't drink Woodford Reserve now, that was one of the first like bourbons I got into, like, to actually taste the bourbon. I was like you. I had the Jim Beam with the Jack Daniels. When I wanted to taste bourbon, Woodford was the one that I got into. I was like, oh, actually, I like these tasting notes. And I did do it on the rocks. Did it on the rocks for a long time. Then I started doing it neat. Worked my way through Elijah Craig. Elijah Craig, barrel proof is now still my favorite whiskey ever. Yeah. So I have a special place in my heart for Elijah Craig. My mom's favorite whiskey is Elijah Craig small batch, just the standard on the shelf version of it. So yeah, I think that's if someone's trying to get into whiskey, Woodford and Elijah Craig are just some of the best bourbons you can go to for a beginner.
Yeah, I drank on the rocks pretty much exclusively my whole adult life. Until we got tickets to the New Orleans Bourbon Festival. I think it was 2019. And I figured out they're not going to be pouring me on the rocks. I'm going to have to get used to this stuff neat. So that's when I started. A couple of months before that, I started drinking it neat. And that's a learning curve.
That's so interesting. Yeah,
it's a learning curve. But now I can't go back. I can't put anything on the rocks now.
I drink some really high proof things on the rocks still, but for the most part, I'm drinking things neat. And I really wanted to go to New Orleans Bourbon Festival next year. I actually thought about buying tickets, but my life has kind of taken a turn for the whole job situation. So I'm like, I don't want to commit to something that far out. So I'll probably miss it this year. But I've heard so many great things about that festival.
Well, all right, rush us along, but
okay, I know. Well, we got one more to drink, and I know you got to get to bed. Hold on, I'm just getting caught up with the chat real quick. Brandon said, unfortunately, Woodinville does not release their cask the rye outside the distillery. I did not realize that. Swan is here. He said, who the hell let you in here? What's up, Swan?
I usually say Donnie let me in. the Linux cat.
Reg said, I started getting into whiskey in 2020. Oh, wow. So you're one of the newbies here. Hey, well, thank you for watching. Hopefully you're learning a bit tonight and previous nights as well. Thank you for watching every week, and I hope I teach you something maybe. All right, last one here tonight. And again, we're going to do the giveaway in about 5 minutes. So y'all have about 5 more minutes to get in. Every $5 is one entry to win a sample pack of a bunch of Woodinville samples from Joseph. All right, Joseph, what are we drinking now?
This is the Armagnac finished. Another one of my favorites.
I was gonna say, Joseph, I tried this one before the stream and I fell in love. I think this might be my favorite Woodinville I've ever tried ever. It smells amazing.
This is number 2 on my list.
Okay.
My all-time favorite.
I was hoping it was high because it's so good.
My all-time favorite was a cask strength apple stave finished from. It was 3 or 4 years ago.
I was gonna say, because my apple stave is just 100 proof. This is just the toasted one, so it's not quite that right.
This is like 116, 117 proof.
Wow, okay.
And it was the bourbon, and it was fantastic.
Yeah,
I only got 2 bottles. I sent one to Chad and Sarah for Christmas.
Yeah. So, I'll say on the nose of this one, I mentioned earlier that one of them was giving me like the fresh cracked wood, or even like, I don't want to say, I guess pencil shavings kind of. I got that element of the wood on this one more than any of them. Again, it's my favorite, so it's obviously not too bad of a note. But I think right behind that, I get a bit of like a toasted coconut. I get some overripe apples, which makes sense. You know, this Armagnac, I assume, is a great brandy as far as I'm aware. So
it would be whichever Moet Hennessy. Hennessy is a cognac. So, like I said, this came out with a cognac as well.
Gotcha.
Cognac finish.
So I assume this is a great brandy, but I will say though, this tastes like ripe apples. I think this one it's super, especially on the palate. I know I'm kind of spoiling it a bit, but
you're wrong. I don't get apples at all. I get.
Oh, what do you get on it? I'm curious.
Obviously, the usual, the caramel, all the boring stuff, but I will agree on the coconut, like a toasted coconut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, toasted.
Right. It's a little smoky, like as opposed to a barrel char or a toast, maybe a little smokiness.
Yep.
And I get an earthiness that's almost mushroomy, just on the nose.
Oh, interesting. I will say I get like something like the edge of my tongue, the edges, like both edges of my tongue. I get like a bit of that like earthiness, and I've never associated it with mushroom, but I could see that for sure.
So we'll call it umami.
Yep, that works for me.
Or unagi.
I'm referencing reference. Okay, I don't know. I'm looking at my notes earlier, and I said warm, smoky, and oaky. So I think you hit a lot of those notes right there too.
Oh, cheers!
Sorry, I got excited. Cheers. Oh, this is great. I seriously think of all the Woodinville I've had, between you and Patrick sending me bottles, between ones I've tried here locally, this has got to be my favorite thing I've ever had from Woodinville. Like, I want this. This is so good. Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't live near the distillery, so I can't get it. I hope Woodinville is watching this and they're going to see this and they're going to make this a normal release. We'll see.
Who knows what the next one will be? They do like to have fun.
That is awesome. And Scott from Fifth Quarter Tailgate is here. Well, first he says, "Wow, you'll let anybody be a guest on this channel," and then he gives me $5 and he says, "I want to win Brazeau's whiskey." So he's obviously interested. Cheers, Scott. Thank you so much for the super chat.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, Swan said he tried that bottle, Joseph. It was heavenly. Yeah.
Who did he try it from?
I don't know. Tony says, "Dang it, I love Armagnac finish anything always at the same time." Yeah, it sounds like this would be a pretty big crowd favorite here. Swan said, "I flew out there, Cliffy. It's your turn." Well, I did tell him I'll be there eventually. I just got to get my life in order first. Scott said Cliffy is too young to reference Friends. I've never watched Friends. Sorry.
I think the proof on this one is perfect.
Yeah, what proof are we talking
about? 111?
111. This is probably the highest one we're having tonight, right?
Yep. I don't know. The cognac was almost 117.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
I got 3 bottles of that, but one of them I gifted. One of them I took to Whiskey Weekend in Louisville, and one of them's at a friend's house. So when I go over on Fridays, I sip on it there. So that's why I didn't send you any, because I don't have any here.
All right. Well, we are at the cutoff for the giveaway. I'll give y'all one more minute just in case anyone's trying to get in the last minute. We're gonna spin the wheel of whiskey and determine who wins the sample pack. But while we wait, Joseph, I will be seeing you in 3 weeks.
Right? Yes, you will.
I am so excited to meet you
a cigar.
Yes, I'm so excited. So if you guys, most of y'all know, but there's a bit of a meetup in Las Vegas on Labor Day weekend. Thanks to our friends Chris and Lil from Australia. I'm getting a chance to meet so many awesome people, including Joseph and his wife, and just so many people from the community that I haven't met before. So I am so excited. I'm trying to figure out what bottles I'm bringing because I'm flying in, so I can't really leave with the bottle. So I'm only bringing things I'm willing to just get rid of.
Exactly. I'm bringing 135 proof store pick Elijah Craig.
Oh my God! I will be at you're at Paris, right?
Yeah.
When do you arrive? Can I show up at your hotel room door? I'll be like,
yes.
Joseph,
we
where's
get
Elijah
in
Craig?
Friday at like 1:30 or 11:30 in the morning, something like that. So
awesome.
I'm sure there's going to be a couple meetups.
Yeah. I don't know the plans. I just know I'll be there. I'm getting there Thursday night, so I will be around unless Chris and Lil just keep me out all night Thursday. I'll be at your hotel room door at 1 p.m. on Friday. I'm just kidding. All right, y'all ready for the giveaway?
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and randomize this. I'm gonna share my screen in just a second. Thank you again, everyone who entered it. I am so thankful for your support on the channel. I'm trying to try out a new method of advertising the channel, hopefully to pick up some new subscribers. So your support tonight really does help benefit that. And again, thank you, Joseph, for lending your samples for this giveaway. So
my pleasure. Just spreading the love.
Absolutely. So let me share my screen so you guys can see the wheel of whiskey. Here we go. All right, everyone's name is in there. I have shuffled it a couple times, and we're about to spin it. So if y'all are ready for the wheel of whiskey, I am ready. Hold on. I'm noticing a mistake. Tony is only in there once. That is my bad. Give me a second. Tony's the only one that got left out of that. I got you, Tony. Don't worry. All right. Let me fix that.
So after this, I'm going to try to tell you all 20 states that Woodinville is available in. From memory. I'm going to try.
You know what? Go. Do you want to go for it now, or do you want to just?
Sure. Okay. Somebody keep track. There's 20 states supposedly. Okay. Washington, Oregon, California, Idaho, Colorado, Texas, Arizona, Nebraska, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Kentucky, Georgia, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, Washington, D.C., Maryland, and New York. Did I hit them all?
Sure. I assumed you were reading it. I don't know.
No. That's memory.
Y'all tell him in the chat. Did he get that? let
Is that
him know.
20?
I was.
Did I forget Illinois? It's in Illinois.
Wait, that was 20, said Brandon, and then Halden says that was 21, counting DC.
Nice. I hit it.
All right, so I will share my screen now. Like I said, everyone is entered here. I've shuffled a few times, and we're about to spin the wheel of whiskey. So are you ready, Joseph?
Wheel of whiskey!
Let's go.
Oh, crap.
Mr. Never Wins. Don Nishida.
I gotta ship this shit to Hawaii?
Just in USPS, it's the same price.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. Don, congratulations. And again, thank you. Thank you, Joseph.
I'll sneak in a couple of good cigars for him, too.
Awesome.
Because it's Don.
Hey, Joseph, this was so much fun. I would love to have you on again soon. Even if we're not doing Woodinville, we can just do a random flight or something. I normally ask people to plug their social media channels. Do you have something you want to plug? Maybe Brazeau
No,
will hit on it.
I don't want anyone to find me on social media.
All right.
Stay away.
Well,
thank you all for watching, and thank you for having me on. I hope everybody had a good time.
absolutely. So for those of you that are patrons, catch me over on Discord for our after party hangout. If you are not yet following my podcast, look up the Bourbon Bytes podcast wherever you get your podcast. New episode coming out tomorrow morning of that new EJ Curley single barrel bourbon. And until next time, I will see you guys next week. And y'all don't follow Joseph, even though you can find him on Instagram by just searching his name. It's not that hard. All right.
It's Instagram, it's Facebook.
All right. Cheers, y'all. Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you.